So I'm gonna share my screen just so that people that watch the recording can see it. So yeah, you can start now if you want to.
Okay. One sec, just a very quick. Hazel's making a bold dash.
Oh, I'm seeing something slightly different than what's shown on the screen. I'm seeing the questions. Is that
okay? We'll try again. Okay. Okay. So present. Okay. Did that change for you, Alex? Should have changed to support for second gens in the community.
When I was on the questions, I had to click on go to the new slide or something.
Okay, okay. Let me just fix that. Settings. Presenter pace. Features. Okay, I think. Let me try again. Should be on presenter pace, which is what we want. Oops.
Oh, it's okay now, Alex said.
Oh, it's okay now. Fantastic. Okay, so we're gonna get started. Hazel.
All right. Sorry. Can you reduce that so I can see people?
Yep.
Thanks.
Yep.
Yeah. Hi guys. So if you don't know yet, my name is Haesul Rakuya, and this is my husband Gary Rakuya. We are living in Manchester in the north of England, and we have 2 kids. Their name is Dante and Zara. And yeah, basically
Will be very kind to us today. They went to sleep at 6 p.m.
Yeah, normally they sleep a lot later. So yeah. So the title of this session today is Support for Second Gens in the Community. And we're quite interested in this topic as a couple. Let me tell you why. Basically, when I was in HARP, maybe about
When you were in HARP?
When I was in HARP, I remember every year there was about 200 to 300 people coming in every workshop every year. And then when I was in SDF, a few years after that, then there were about 200, 300 people combined with the 2 years that was with me. And yeah, those people that I was with, a lot of them are not in the movement, are not involved in the movement anymore. There are some of my friends who are still looking on and trying to observe what's happening. But most of them have gone completely cut off. And I'm just really interested about trying to understand what's happening. So that's why we wanted to run this session. I know that you've probably discussed around this topic before, but I hope that in this session we could get some have a different angle in the topic as well. So Arian said he was excited to hear a talk, but we're not really gonna be doing a talk today. It's
we'll have a conversation
conversation, trying to answer the question together. Maybe we can, in the group here, we could generate lots of ideas that maybe to help at least generate a hypothesis in those questions. So go on.
Okay, so
thanks.
So my name is Gary. Some of you know me, and I'll be helping. I'll be steering us through the conversation today, which is hopefully going to be fun. Let me go to the next slide. So the first question that I'd like you to look at is what inspires you to live a blessed life, and Yeah. Oh, actually, Alex, would you mind not sharing your screen? I think everyone's on the same page now. So if you just take off the screen share, then we avoid anchoring, which is a cognitive bias. We don't want to be anchored by your views, so we want to be independent.
I will still share the screen, but I will do like the survey on another window, just so that the online people can see what we're doing.
Oh, okay, good
okay,
idea.
okay.
Good stuff.
Sure.
Okay, yeah. Cool. Wow, that's great. So yeah, blessed life. We mean so when we wrote this question, we're thinking, you know, we grew up as blessed children with this identity as blessed children, and as we grow up, you know, we might decide to go to the blessing, get married, receive a spouse, and then lead a blessed life in that way. So that's what we mean by a blessed life. And yeah, and I'll be quiet for a little bit so you can have time to think, which is also very, very helpful. Four responses now. And while that goes on, could I ask Alex, one of the Alexes, to tell me how many people are on the call, excluding Hazel and I?
15, I think.
Okay, so we're on 9 responses. We'll wait for the other 6 as well,
Oh, but
and then we'll have a little conversation about.
maybe some of them might not be able to reply because some of them are working or taking care of baby.
Okay, yeah.
so-
If you, would you mind putting in the chat if you cannot do the survey so that we don't wait on that?
They might not be able to do that.
Okay, let's do it this way.
At least
Is
13.
there anyone who needs a few more seconds? Yeah, put your hand up. It's okay.
Oh, I think it's free first, Jen, in this
Oh, okay.
call. So they're wondering if they should answer as well.
Maybe not.
What would
No,
you?
because this is a survey for second gen.
Okay,
so-
so you can answer it if you were born in the movement. So that includes anyone who was born as a second gen, or like us, who wasn't born as a second gen but was raised in the movement. All right. So this is really interesting. I'm gonna share with you the results. I'll just put it as a screenshot so that we can keep it nice and simple. And while I do that, there is 3.1 strongly agree. So people agree more strongly than disagree that other reasons are playing a factor. So would you mind sharing some of those other reasons with us? So when you were thinking of other reasons, what were those?
I think maybe feeling dissatisfied with society's expectations, or secular society, in other words.
Okay, so
And then
so you kind of
finding an alternative in our movement that is more appealing to me, I guess.
Okay, that's really interesting. So there are things that are frustrating in the movement, and yet you look outside and it's not like there's any other community who's got the answer, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not that I'm complaining about the movement, but it's just that I compare the two. I compare life inside the movement to life outside the movement, and I feel that my interests are best served inside the movement as opposed to being outside of it.
Okay, thanks, Ariane. That's yeah, really interesting answer. Thanks.
I was thinking, like there are quite a lot of reasons, like a lot of complex reasons why I choose this lifestyle. But yeah, one of the things I thought of when I clicked on others was, for example, that I am generally more happier in this kind of environment than, let's say, outside environment.
What would you say is what's in this environment that's not out there? Like, could you describe it a bit more specifically?
I guess I just got treated better, like as a person, and I got pushed more, like to be the best version of myself, and also like to be, I guess, like the true version, and not like how someone would like me to see.
Okay, that's really, I really like that. Yeah. Yeah, Tommy says, I think people are drawn to where they feel appreciated, loved, and comfortable. Alex Bauer, that resonates with that's very similar to what you're saying, right?
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Would you say that High Noon is part of True Parents / the community? Alex, do you want to elaborate on that? I don't know.
I'm just thinking like some people start their own projects, I guess, within the community. I guess it has some foundation. But there's like lots of different organizations like UPF and the Women's Federation for World Peace and the High Noon and all these other stuff. I guess I can kind of under community as well. But it's also like other people's teachings as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you mean now. That makes sense. Yeah, I think that's why when we were thinking of how we describe what's the best way to ask this question, that's why we settled on blessed life, because that kind of gives a sense that you are somehow connected to all of this, right? All of this meaning what we just described. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I think it's quite interesting that in that so the top three are our friends or the community itself, or the friends of the community, parents' teachings, and my parents' example, and the fact that True Parents of the Messiah is has lower, a little bit lower scores than that. So I think maybe we may, yeah, that's an interesting thing there, which we may end up exploring a little bit further. But let's go on to the second question. That's okay, which is so this is a short answer type question, and it goes like this: have you or someone that you know been at a breaking point or a decision point about your life of faith, i.e. also living a blessed life? What's helped you decide? What's helped you through that breaking point? So does anyone have questions about the question? Okay, then I'll be quiet, because this is a difficult one, and so silence is actually quite helpful in being able to answer it. So we'll give it a good few minutes here, okay? Oh, I've seen, yeah. If you feel comfortable, then then you can. I know that there is a limit on characters in the answer. So if you feel you need more and you are okay to share it with the group, then please feel free to put it in the chat. Otherwise, yeah. Otherwise, next time we'll make it longer answers.
Maybe you should share.
Okay. Some really good answers. Yeah, I want to share. Actually, Alex, would you be able to put this on the screen? I'll put it in the chat. Yeah, if you click forward. One more. So yeah, there's some really interesting answers coming through. So some of you still thinking this is the very existence, which is really you know, makes it real, I think. One that I thought was really interesting is so I think, yeah, there's one that's similar to what Arian you shared earlier. You know, no hope, no vision for a future in the outside world. So you know, it's like there isn't anything better on offer. Some of you, like, it just feels like it's the right way. For some others, actually, you've questioned the existence of God, but what you discovered is that it actually helps. Like, you can overthink things sometimes, and what really matters is how you lead your life and what you practice, and this, like, practicing a better life made you filled you with more hope and was happier. What was interesting is that I personally felt like I could relate to, actually, is the one on the right side of the screen. So when I saw that what is described as cult-like behavior around me, so so that led to someone, you know, kind of saying, okay, I don't want anything to do with this. But then similarly to that lack of hope in the world, if you like, made them come back. Does anyone feel like they want to share further to what they answered? Alex, how do you feel if we go into smaller breakout rooms for this question? Because I think it's quite personal, and it can be a little bit hard to talk in front of a big crowd, especially when it's recorded. So would you be able to create smaller groups and and then we can spend a few minutes discussing this question in there.
Yeah, that's what we usually do. So I think
Okay.
it would be all right.
Well, we'll go with that.
How long would you like them to be?
Well, how do you have a normal limit? Maybe like around 7 minutes
Yes,
or so, 8 minutes.
8 minutes, cool. Mm.
Okay, so yeah, hope there was a good conversation. One of the Alexes, could you drop the link to the Menti again into the chat for the new joiners, and we'll move on to the next question. So, okay. So hopefully you can see it. Question is, how could you or someone you know have been better supported in your spiritual life? So yeah, some of you shared that you didn't have, like you never really felt challenged in that. And so yeah, maybe in that case, you could think of a friend who has. But if you've personally experienced challenges in that spiritual life, in that, yeah, when we say spiritual life, we mean leading a blessed life. I think that's interchangeable. So in living in that way. So what we'll do again is we'll have about 2-3 minutes to reflect, and then we'll I think this time we'll share the screen. I'll do a quick run through of some of the responses to kind of trigger thoughts and reflections, and then we'll go into breakout groups again. Okay. So 3 minutes. Ooh, having some really interesting, really good answers back. Things that resonate with me a lot. Please carry on. I just want to realize that some of you joined a bit later, so I wanted to give you a brief overview of the session. So we're going through different questions. Everyone else, feel free to continue answering and ignore me. So yeah, we're going through a series of questions about our what has made us, or why we are deciding to lead a blessed life, as blessed children, or people who have been raised in with these values and in this community. Why do we decide to stick around? And so this question is obviously about any support that you might have wanted to receive. We're 7 answers, so 30 more seconds, and then we'll look at them. Okay, so yeah, some really deep answers actually. So one of the things that I find really interesting is supporting of a lone community, honesty and transparency from leadership. So obviously there's a sense that maybe that is not some, there is some lack there. I'm really curious about the resources and education and which are locked behind language or paywalls and red tape. So if you wrote that, would you mind explaining that? Because I haven't heard of that before. Yeah.
Oh, I can explain.
Okay, cool.
One,
Okay, that was it. Okay.
I mean, one very, I think, memorable experience was I've been previously blessed back in 2005, and this was at a time when blessing education was minimal. They just kind of said basically prepare to be blessed to anyone, and that was it. And then just go get matched to someone who doesn't speak the same language, and then you're off. No follow-up education. So that I remember that very distinctly, and that's why I think yeah, my first blessing didn't work out. As did yeah, as had many others failed the same way. And I mean that's part of it, right? I can't attribute it to just the lack of education, but that was very clear to me that we just weren't ready, we weren't prepared, we didn't have the resources or support from an authority, right? And then even going beyond that, I think I think it was like $10,000 to purchase a Chun Sung Young at one point. I don't know if you remember that. And I think Christian wars were fought over that, right? Being able to have access to a book, to text that you can literally find, give for free, as a PDF, right? So when I was fundraising, we were smuggling digital PDF copies of the Chun Sung Young that people were paying $10,000 for. Of course, things are changing. I'm glad for that. But even now, like some things that written by a lot of Reverend Moon True Father's teachings are still in Korean, and True Mother's words, they don't get translated. The most recent speeches don't get translated for months because and so just those are my thoughts. And I just
wow.
Yeah.
Thanks, Taka. That's yeah, really, yeah. Thanks for sharing that. It's really personal as well, and so I appreciate that. Yeah, I think it's needless to say, you know what, you know, we'll what I wanted to say is that triggered something. We had a conversation a few weeks ago with someone who's describing. Actually, no, you didn't. I had a conversation with someone about how insane it is. You know, the blessing, our highest, like, you know, and most pressured, the only kind of sanctity as such, you know, marriage, and yet, like, all the even all the education that exists now around it, which at the time didn't, all of that is only given after you're blessed, and there is not so much of it happening in the lead up to it. So yeah, I think that's a big deal. That's something that we can do a lot better on in terms of supporting people on that journey. Not just kind of don't have sex before marriage, which is okay, but it's not a very positive message, you know. Okay, I can't do that, but what should I do? I mean, you know, yeah. All right. One last one really quickly. I want to explore a little bit. So less central figure attitude, and instead of making me afraid of my problems, you know, support on that, and support outside workshops. Who wrote that? I'd love to hear it. I mean, if you don't want to share, that's okay. But yeah, that's.
Yeah, I wrote that, and yeah, I mean, I didn't struggle with my life of faith that much, but like I do had some things where I thought, oh yeah, I could have been supported better. So yeah, like with the overcoming problems things, like when I was younger, I thought basically, like, based on what I heard in my education, that like there are problems and like things you're not supposed to do, and like you need to stay away from them, and like those are rules, and yeah, like this is the bad stuff, don't touch that. But yeah, in my experience, like I've learned that a better attitude is to not make people afraid of them, but more show them, like give them a reason to. Oh, Alma asks me to refresh the page. Give them a reason to follow the guidance, and kind of show them how to do it in the correct way. For example, you know, I don't think it would be like a good way to just say, oh yeah, don't have a relationship with the opposite gender, because, you know, obviously you should have relationship with the opposite gender, just the right kind of relationship.
Alex, that is actually a theme in 2 or 3 of cars in here around being like having to be perfect, and this word perfection and our concepts associated with that, with being born with no sin. Does anyone else have something, you know, on that note, like being expected never to make a single mistake?
I actually have something on that.
Go on.
Yeah, so like growing up, adults seeing us as people who have to be perfect, have to be the kindest, the most nurturing, or always be ready to help, or just perfect in every single way, when we are just human. We're not entirely everyone makes mistakes, basically. And them not realizing that it's not that we are born perfect, we have to grow. And sure, everyone has the potential to, but we are not there unless we do the growth thing. And yeah, having adults be not entirely upset, but kind of upset for you not being where they expect you to be, or being who they expect you to be, wasn't exactly helpful.
Yeah, definitely resonates. it's interesting now as a young parent, it's something that I try to avoid as much as possible. So yeah, you know, my favorite saying is we all make mistakes sometimes, and my children have adopted that, and they say it back to me. They say, yeah. Okay, did someone else also want to say something at the same time as Alma?
Oh yeah, I wanted to explain the central figure thing.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, it's more a bit, let's say it's a bit like SDF based. Bless you, Anya. I don't think it's the best idea to like put some like unprepared people, which are also quite young, and put them in like the central figure position where like they are told, oh yeah, you're in the position of God, and you have to think like, oh yeah, you are God in that moment. Like, yeah, I don't really think that's healthy for the people which they are leading in the end, and also for them. So yeah, I just wanted to elaborate on it.
Man, that's really deep. Yeah, I've personally experienced being in that position, and I think I've hurt some people a lot, and it's some of my greatest regrets in my life so far, actually. As a team leader in STF, saying things that I mean were stupid, but and that's, you know, we all make mistakes sometimes, but the fact that because of the culture of me being in that position, no one thought of saying, hey man, that's a really stupid thing to say. You know, so I think you bring out something really deep in the culture that we grew up in, and this whole kind of central figure cult. I think is Haesul has some strong views on that, and I'm sure she was here. Oh, you told them they're done. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Well, yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. One of the deepest experiences actually is I had a friend who wasn't an STF. She joined us fundraising, and we knew each other from first year, and she was the one who said, look, I don't know what's going on here, but you're doing some pretty dumb stuff here, so you got to stop that now, you know. And I was like, because they were a friend and because I trusted their judgment, I said, whoa, really? I thought I was doing pretty well, you know. And that's what kind of triggered a moment of reflection, which I think was much welcome. Okay, really interesting. Okay, so let's do another 8 minutes on this. I think there's a lot more in here that we can do. So yeah, if you could set that up, Alex. Bauer part. feels like that's a theme thing you read that really resonated about yeah, you were saying that currently like a challenge is that the community isn't there, and having a community, there's kind of genuine connections, not for some other sake, but for the sake of those connections themselves is really important, right? Cool. Hope you all had really good conversations. That's we're going to move on to the next question. So hoping that that's on your screen has changed, and the question is, what do you think could be done to improve the environment for the next generation? So think of, you know, maybe in the future you have children. Maybe for some of you that's closer than some others. But how would you like them to grow up? You know, what's the environment that you feel would be most conducive to their spiritual well-being? If you don't have children or it's too far away, you know, you can we can think about our younger siblings, and what it is that we feel want to put there. So I think that we'll do this as a group, because like this is the final question. So rather than going to breakout rooms, we're just going to do it as a big conversation. In some ways, this is a little bit less personal. So yeah, does anyone have any thoughts in this space?
In my group, in a previous question, Arian shared that it's awesome if there's an older role model that supports you, kind of that you look up to, and yeah, just kind of understand how that they overcame challenges, or like they live certain good values and they had more experiences, and how they responded. And yeah, just having that role model is valuable, but also that yeah, sometimes if something happens to that role model, then it's also a bit scary. It can go the opposite way. So yeah, but yeah, good role models.
Role models, that's really good. Can you stick it in the boxes? That's really good.
For me,
yeah,
something that comes to my mind. So on SDF, I was fundraising in Albania, and I expected the Albanian members to be, let's say, a bit different, I suppose, because they joined in a different way than the other first gen, like our parents, and they came like with second gens also being around, and with all the rest of the movement also being around. So I thought, things are gonna be handled differently in Albania. But then talking to them, I realized a lot of the same mistakes are still being made. And then, like looking at certain workshops, I saw they're still doing the same mistakes that like they did already 10 years ago, or even the same mistakes they like try to teach us not to do. So I think one important thing, like for the future generations, is that we don't try to make something new, but try to actually learn all of the mistakes we already did.
So an environment where we can continuously improve things.
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, agree to that. I wanted to add to Alex's answer. I think it would also be good to have some sort of reconciliation between the first and the second gen. I feel like there's this tension, probably resentment sometimes as well, to the first gens because they did this wrong and that wrong. And I had that before with my parents. But now I'm starting to realize, you need to forgive. We need to forgive our parents, and we need to, give them some slack. They were young as well, and they made mistakes. But if we were in that position, we would also make the same mistakes, I think. So I think we need to understand them a lot more. And also exactly that, learn from the mistakes that they did, and
just do it a little bit better.
A bit better, yeah.
Right.
At least.
Try it. Try to do a slight improvement. Iterate on that. Really deep that. I think it's so easy to kind of, I think well, once the children were born, like, okay, you are really tired after a while, and then when you're tired, you make even more mistakes. So it's easy to get annoyed and all of that jazz. So some of the answers are coming through. We can look at them. One of the ones I like is connect between generations. I think those connections is what it's all about. By the way, Hazel's reading a book, and since it's Mental Health Awareness Week, I really recommend this book to any of you. That this guy's got some hang on, can you see the author? Lost Connections. Okay, Johan Hari. It's he reads very, very neatly. Great storyteller. He's got some videos online if you want to Google him. his main thesis is, and by the way, Hazel's reading the book, so I'm kind of telling you what she's told me, hopefully in the right way. But his main thesis is that a lot of our mental health challenges come as a consequence of our way of life over the past 50 years, and kind of a lot of the concepts about everyone should be able to sort out their own problems by themselves, which is very different to how we as people lived for almost the entire history of humankind. And this is a new concept, and it's not working so well. So community is of the essence. Relationships with our older brothers and sisters and our younger brothers and sisters is of the essence. So yeah, if you're feeling down, try and connect to someone. Try and connect to someone who is who might be in need, and try and help them. See if you can help them, and that's a connection. That's a really deep connection. Okay, what else is there? Oh, favorite topic of mine: less division inside the movement and taking care of those who are here now, so that they will be here when our kids are here. Who put that? That's amazing. That's really deep. Oh, Alma, tell us more.
I did. I think it was, I mean, it's something I've been thinking about for a while. I think of like, if we stop being here, if we don't take care of those who are here, the younger generations, how will they know to do the same for the next ones? And I think if we don't start a wave of, we'll be here for you guys no matter what, supporting and doing things for them, I think that can inspire others to do the same. Because I think like it's also drawn from personal experience of like, I didn't have older second gen around me. I didn't have older people around me until I went to workshops in ESGD. And that's when I realized actually there's a lot more of us. And there's people who can help or care about us. And I guess that's one of the stepping stones in my life that made me realize it is worth it being here. And that's why I do care about being there for the next generations. And I think that's important and not something that we should forget. Because yeah, if you stop now, then good luck to your kids because they won't have anyone. Yeah, and the division part, it's drawn from something that my mother pointed out, and she was quite upset about it, where there seems to be division, for example, in the blessing department, or like in more higher levels of the like politics, I guess.
Sure.
And yeah, because for example, there's a problem of like the BFD and I think ESGD, or there's lots of struggles and stuff, and it's come to the point where they're setting some, I guess, rules and regulations of like, oh, you can only go to the blessing if you go to workshops that are not ESGD because those don't count anymore, or even if there is the exact same workshop, if they're not under this name, it doesn't matter. And there's like other stuff like that I don't think makes sense because we're not meant to be divided. Because yeah, and just all the division that's happening in general, not just like the blessing stuff. I don't think it's something that we're preaching. So I think it's quite stupid and it's not a good example. My mom was quite heated about it and she had a whole rant going at me, although it's not like my fault or anything, but she needed to tell it to someone. And yeah, I do agree, because how can they say, oh, we have to unite to live for the sake of others and everything, and then just create wars internally?
Yeah, I think that, yeah, thanks, Alma. I that resonates. I think Hazel and I have, well, we've never personally been involved in any of these political struggles, but I think we've seen some play out in our lifetime, and it's disheartening. I think it can be disheartening, but I think our experiences you know, you just gotta keep connected and always follow your conscience.
Yeah.
In all things.
Yeah, I wanted to add to that. I feel that nowadays we are getting so focused on, say, trying to create the theology or doctrine that, oh, we have to believe these certain things, otherwise you are not a unificationist, or you are not this or that. We're trying to define things a lot more, and I think it's because people are scared a little bit that we don't have an identity, so we're trying to define our identity by underpinning them in certain statements and requirements, I guess. But rather than making, what I feel is, rather than making us stronger, yeah, it is creating more divisions, because then, oh, well, if I don't subject to this or that, then I don't belong, or I don't conform, and therefore I'm not Mooney or something. So yeah, I really like the Jewish tradition of learning how to argue with each other, and really having a tradition of open interpretation, that, okay, this is True Father's words, this is what he said, we can all interpret it in many different ways. It's okay, that's okay, as long as we know that we will act a certain way according to, yeah, we will act to follow our conscience ultimately. Whatever follow the best of our conscience. And I think that's the same as following God, basically, as we are learning and developing more in our understanding of the text and for our relationships. So yeah.
Thanks, man. Yeah, deep stuff. Practice over doctrine is what you're saying. Okay. Exactly. Cool. There is a box on the right that says a thriving community, where there is something for everyone. The scientists, the sporting people, the gamers, every field of life, not just the spiritual, prayerful, typical Mooney. The reason I love that, because I was thinking, like, you know, there is like, someone mentioned earlier in the call that, oh, there's like, you know, what do we mean by blessed life? Does UPF count? Does this other thing count? Does Women's Federation count? It's like, yeah, we said all of it, any of it, you know. And part of me wonders, like, what's all these organizations about? You know, why did True Father set up a gazillion different awards and sports cup and peace football and all this stuff? And I think it's because yeah, I wanted to affect every area of life. Who said this point? This is really, I really like this. Anyone feeling like owning up a thriving community, something for everyone? No, that's okay. You can choose to stay anonymous, but if you were the one and you decide that you wanna say so, then put in the chat. We love it. Hazel and I really agree. Okay, another one that's really interesting. So it's actually on the screen. You can see it. And need to start unpacking big societal issues like sexism, because we don't exist in a vacuum, and have detrimental effects in relations with our community. Who said this? This is really, really deep. That's it. Hi. Sergio, yes? Sergio. Yeah. Hey, welcome. I'm so glad you joined. Our children still remember you playing with them at the retreat, so you are a legend. Do you want to talk more about this?
I was talking about this a little bit in the previous question in the breakout room. Yeah, I just feel like there's this idea that because we're a great community or we have these certain values that we won't fall prey to like massive societal issues that are affecting our whole world. And like, yeah, as a community, we choose to do this. Like, we don't choose to like portion ourselves off so no one can know about us and know about what we think, because we want to affect everyone. So I think in that way, we need to also not be blind to like things like sexism and racism within our community, and like actually start to become like champions of like being anti these things, and like, yeah, being kind of leaders in this way.
Yeah, having something to say alongside those, isn't it? Like, it's not just not just kind of oh, that's bad, this is good, but like having something to engage with all the things that are happening in the world, right?
Yeah.
So Shay, yeah.
Yeah, there was a comment earlier in the earlier question about that we shouldn't be sheltered, something like this. I don't remember exactly now. But we shouldn't hide. Yeah, we shouldn't hide away in society's problems. We shouldn't. Yeah, pretty much exactly what you were saying. Yeah, I really agree with that. I feel like there's not enough conversation in the movement about what the stuff that are going on. I think you guys in BC Connects do it a lot more. I feel like as a movement, we need to tackle these difficult conversations. And yeah, exactly. It was saying that we shouldn't hide away from them because we are in the world. And yeah, we need to be able to have answers to these difficult questions. And inevitably, people will have many different opinions.
And self-reflect as well on what's going on in our world, isn't it? Like, because and someone else said, be honest and open. I think, yeah, that's definitely high on the list. You know, just not. I think there is immense depth when someone says, hey, especially in a leadership position, hey, you know what, I screwed up, I made a mistake, that's why this happened, and I'll try and not do it again, you know, and I'm really sorry that I did it. So deep stuff. Okay, the final one we can discuss is the one at the bottom right, making healthy families a priority. Who wrote this? Do you wanna come on and share your thoughts? That's okay. I'm happy to read it for you. So, whoever you wrote this, make healthy families a priority. I think mission and providence had always overshadowed the needs of families. A lot of the resentment and pain from members sacrificing their own children and spouses. I
definitely agree with that.
Yeah. I think it's something really deep to end on, is that our community has been one of sacrifice, always sacrifice everything for the world or the greater good. And I think to build a lasting legacy, we have to make it sustainable. We have to make sure that we look after, we create strong families, because that's how, you know, that's what lineage is, right? So it's in the teachings, but somehow we kind of didn't. I think we have struggled to substantiate the kind of concept of lineage in action, in how we make sure that God is experienced by every generation, every subsequent generation in our families. So I think having that as a priority and building on that to have something to say in the world is the way to go. So wow, I think, yeah, we can end on that. I'm really grateful that I got to know you a little bit, and that you were so honest. I think that's what I appreciate the most, is that you spoke your mind, and you gave us a lot to reflect on. Hazel, do you want to conclude with a few remarks on you know, on your plans and how, you know, how this comes to shape the work that you're doing?
Yeah, so thank you very much, everyone, for your answers. Yeah, I want to re-emphasize what Gary said, all of your honesty. Yeah, this is very useful for us. Actually, yeah, I mean, yeah, for us in a practical way, this is very useful, because I don't know if you know, but we are proposing to do something for the community in the north, that's North England and Scotland, to do community in a different style and try out different approaches. We're going to go through some experiments in the next year and try out new things to see whether we can make some improvements. And especially this is one of the key questions that we have. How can we improve the environment for the next generation? How can we ensure longevity in the movement? How can we support each other as brothers and sisters? How do we create a mentoring culture between younger and older, and also first generation, second generation? So yeah, these are all very, very good, insightful answers. Thank you so much for the discussions. So yeah, hopefully we'll see you again.
Yeah, Alex, do you mind if I say a prayer to wrap this up?
No, please do so.
Thanks. Dear Lord, good evening. I'm so grateful that I got to meet so many of my brothers and sisters with Haesul, who share their minds honestly and openly. And yeah, I pray that we can through these connections that we made with each other, these questions that we reflected on, we can take action. We can choose to get to know someone. We can choose to invest and take care of someone this week, and we can and through that we can make you as a parent happy and make and grow personally, and but above all experience deep joy through and meaning through building connections in the community, divine happy connections like the ones that you have dreamt of for all of us and for all of life. So we thank you for this, for Alex setting up this time for us to get together, and want to invite your blessings upon all of us as blessed families, members of blessed families. I pray this in my name, Gary Rakuya, as blessed 100 family. Aju.
Aju.
You guys.
Great to meet you. Take
See
care.
you.
See you, everyone.